And now we're live. Good morning, everybody. Especially you, Steve. How you doing, Cameron?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you doing over there in your neck of the woods, sir?
I'm just shiny. Just shiny. Had a good bonfire yesterday. Burned up some yard trash. We'll clean up. So we don't have a toter win this Thursday. And let's be real. Biden's in office. Not going to be a lot of toter wins. But what we do have that I find deeply amusing. I'm not a Twitter guy for the most part. I look at Twitter in the mornings to see what's trending sometimes if I need an idea for what to do a show on. And this morning, well, it looks like Marjorie Taylor Greene is trending. And there are a few things surrounding old MTG that I like to talk about. And I like to talk about her because, for one, Cameron's in her district.
Yep. Yes, she is. I mean, yes, I am. Whoops. Not feeling so hot this morning. Already doing word whiskers, and we're only 2 minutes into the show.
I think we'll be all right. Also, for my junkies out there, I did drop a little bit of a noise gate on Cameron's audio feed. Little trick I figured out about 10 minutes ago, and it seems to be working pretty good on that road noise. Let me know what you think. Let me know how that works out. So, here's what we've got. Apparently, Marjorie Taylor Greene popped onto old Twitter and said, let's do this. Marjorie Taylor Greene challenges Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to debate on Green New Deal. Marjorie ought to release another Green New Deal. Just spell Green the way she spells her last name with an E on the end. It's got nothing to do with your environmental protectionism bullshit. That would be hilarious. And talk about branding. Oh, hey, Lindsay's with us. Good morning, Lindsay. And we've got Dave Bowen, too. Morning, people. Morning. So Republican Georgia Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene issued a direct challenge Wednesday to Democratic New York Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. In a series of tweets detailing her plan, Greene called on Cortez to debate her publicly on the economic impact of the Green New Deal. Go ahead, Cam.
Which I was going to say actually is brilliant. And not just for the optics, not just for the trolling and all that, but yeah, actually, let's debate the Green New Deal publicly in front of everybody. Because, duh.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, so Green has some issues. She does. But Cortez is a psychotic. Okay, so Green believes some odd things. Cortez believes dangerous things.
Yeah, I'll take religious fervor over communism 10 out of 10.
And I mean, let's be real. Some of the things that Green has said are crazy. But incorrectly believing that certain things which are inconsequential are true, and taking actions based on believing things which are counterfactual, which has been the case with Cortez, is dangerous. Case in point, the Amazon situation. When Cortez managed to scare Amazon off from building a new facility in New York, she cost her area millions of dollars, at least millions, if not billions of dollars. I don't remember all the figures off the top of my head. It's been a little while, and we haven't talked about it in, God, it's been over a year since we talked about that situation. But what happened there is Cortez is so stupid, and I do mean that, because you're talking about a woman who apparently has a degree in economics. She thought when she scared Amazon off that she had saved the taxpayers' money because a large amount of tax incentive had been offered to Amazon. She doesn't understand that Amazon was offered tax breaks. So the tax incentive was you will be forgiven taxes on this amount of money in exchange for locating your facility here and bringing all these jobs to New York. And Cortez is like, hey, look, I saved the taxpayers a bunch of money. No, you idiot. It's not like the New York taxpayers were writing her a check, or were writing Amazon a check to come in. What you've done is you have stopped the creation of the wealth on which other taxes would have been paid where a tax break was offered. You didn't just... Not only did you not save the taxpayer money, you cost them a fortune in tax revenue before you even talk about the fact that you cost them hundreds of six-figure jobs. So, I mean, Cortez is dumb as a post, man.
I don't know that she's dumb. I've expressed my theory before that she's playing a part, and she's playing it excellently. I still think there's a good chance she's a construct and not nearly as dumb as she acts. But putting all that aside, there's a whole nother layer to this Amazon thing as well. Remember when they were shopping around and said, oh, where are we going to put these secondary headquarters? And Georgia, because we have a reasonable tax code here, was one of the places they were looking at. And I was actually opposed to the idea because I don't want Amazon's left-wing values having an effect on Georgia. The same way that the Major League Baseball saying, well, screw you guys, I'm going home. Or in this case, they're going to go back to Colorado and do the All-Star game there. Costs our economy millions of dollars. And we've constantly got this push-pull with the fact that Hollywood likes to make movies in Atlanta. Again, because we've got a reasonable tax structure. Well, that allows them to influence Georgia politics, and I hate that. I didn't want Amazon to come here and be another player in that push-pull. What's funny is Amazon's interests, at least on paper, align with New York's interests, again, at least on paper, because we're talking about a blue corporation moving to a blue state. And so what does she do in her virtue signaling? She runs off somebody that would have funded Democrat initiatives in the state of New York because they themselves also would have wanted a virtue signal. So not only did she cost New Yorkers jobs and New York itself tax revenue, but she also cost it an ally that would have helped push the initiatives forward.
Now, there are several things to take into consideration when you talk about a blue company coming to a red state. One, it can be argued, it can be pointed out that probably means that the bottom line is more important than the party line, right? Amazon is more interested in making money than serving their political interests. However, it may not be as simple as that. Just like you said, them coming here and influencing policy is a problem, and it's one that should concern us all. It could also be assumed that serving the party line and the bottom line, moving to Georgia that has amenable tax codes, business-friendly tax codes, that Amazon puts itself in a position to further infiltrate a state which has recently, very recently, been just absolutely inundated with foreign elections interference. And let me be clear what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about foreign election interference in a state, any money that is spent on a campaign in any state that comes from outside of that state is foreign influence. So if Alabama or, I don't know, California and New York are spending money in Georgia to get people elected, totally fair, free elections, no trickery, no stealing the election. But external forces are funding the campaigns, right?
John Ossoff.
Exactly. Ossoff and Warnock.
Ossoff
Both
more so than Warnock, though.
correct.
I mean, they tried like 3 times to get him elected. That finally stuck.
Correct. So that's what you call foreign interference, right? They made a bunch of hay without any evidence of foreign interference in the 2016 election with Russia and Trump. And it all turned, it turned out that was all, not only was there never any evidence presented to support the arguments that were made that Russian interference altered the election in 2016 in favor of Donald Trump, but the counter evidence actually became apparent that it was a false narrative that was paid for by the Democratic National Committee and the Hillary Clinton campaign. So they were all pissed off about foreign interference then, but I'm telling you, another state spending money in any state's election is foreign interference. It is the same thing. Dad asks, has Ossoff ever lived in Georgia? Yes. Dad, when he was running originally, I don't remember who he was running against now. Karen Handel. When he was running against Karen Handel, there was a great deal of controversy that he did not at the time live in the correct district. But he did live in the state. If I remember correctly. It's been a little while though. So that's what I have to say about foreign interference and Amazon. You look at Amazon, their policies, their politics, their values are not as important to them as their bottom line, and or they can be viewed as a hostile infiltrator whose objective is to influence politics, and this is a strategically sound location to do that. Those two things are not necessarily both true, but can both be true, and are self-evidently probable. Now, let's get back to AOC versus MTG.
Oh, yeah. Can I tell you, brother, you know what I love about how she challenged her to the debate is how polite she was about it, how reasonable she was about it. Well, hey, you have a degree in economics, and I have a degree in business administration. This should actually be a well-informed debate that'll really expose the pros and cons.
So, yeah, she tweeted at her yesterday morning, at AOC, I'd like to challenge you to a debate on the Green New Deal economic policy. Since you sponsored the Green New Deal and have a degree in economics, I'm sure you are more than qualified. And then she continues, I just have a degree in business administration and have owned a construction company for 20 years. A debate between AOC and I on the Green New Deal economic policy would be informative for the American people. They deserve to hear the two sides with pros and cons. You can choose one moderator, and I choose a moderator. Then we can negotiate a major news network to host the debate. Let's do this for the people. What do you say? That all seems very reasonable and polite. And then I think this is hilarious. This Amber Ruffin chick, she's a blue check mark. The Amber Ruffin show. So you just got a little free publicity here. Not a lot, but a little plug. I've never watched her show. She's probably a sociopath. I say because I read this tweet from her and like, wow, you really aren't paying attention, are you, sunshine? She says, Marjorie Taylor Greene challenges Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to use her popularity to help her get attention. Okay. I'm just gonna gloss right by the poorly constructed sentence that is confusing because of its ambiguity, but let's take a quick peek here. Marjorie Taylor Greene sees $3.2 million fundraising windfall despite being sidelined from House committees. $3.2 million in fundraising. She has been in office for 4 months now? Almost 5? No.
Yes.
Just over 3
Basically,
months.
Yeah. She got sworn in January.
AOC netted just over $726,000 in her first 3 months in Congress. So, Miss Ruffin, I hate to tell you, but MTG is kicking AOC right in the face on popularity and fundraising. Marjorie Taylor Greene does not need AOC to raise her brand. Because if anything is true about the little bit of crazy that we've gotten out of Marjorie Taylor Greene, much like what AOC has achieved, you know her name.
Well, not only that,
people know who she is and where she's from and what she stands for.
And I can tell you, as somebody that lives in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, she's representing her district. That when she said the whole thing, for example, that the COVID passport is like the mark of the beast, I assure you that speaks to the people in my area. That very, very much addresses the precise concerns in the precise language they would use to express those concerns. So the fact that she's running laps around her in fundraising does not surprise me at all.
Oh, you're damn it, you're not supposed to be done speaking yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to avoid the circumlocution.
Well, I was trying to abuse it by using it to do something else while you were talking. Okay. Well, so let me pop back over here. I just want I'm just going to show you my Twitter feed, or rather the Twitter thread on this. You got stuff coming at it like, you got this guy, Rich, yes on HR1 Wajicki. Come legitimize my nonsense with attention. The Republican method. What nonsense? What nonsense is she asking to legitimize?
Oh, well, I mean, you understand that the implication there is Greene has got this reputation. I can do this. Greene has got this reputation as being toxic because she's retweeted things from the QAnon and she says things like the COVID passport is the mark of the beast. So that's the implication. It's not that the debate itself is nonsense. It's all the other stuff that they bring to the table. This is a pretty typical method of attack from the left, where they say, okay, well, if you're a Republican, you're associated with Nazis, so therefore you're as bad as a Nazi. That's the same thing here. If you give her any legitimacy, you give all of her legitimacy.
I'm just responding to this. Does Rep. MTG not understand AOC will mop the floor with her? This tells me Greene has never paid attention to Rep. AOC in the hearing room or when she speaks on issues. Really, Cheryl? Really? I'm not even going to finish. I'm not going to reply to her. That's fine. I'm reminded, Cheryl, of that time that the ICE, the head of ICE was there, and AOC said, "You're locking up innocent people who've committed no crimes." And he looked at her and said, "It's against the law to enter the country illegally. Legal asylees are not criminals." You're right. There's a port of entry through which legal asylees may enter. The people that we've arrested did not enter through the port of entry. They are not legal asylees by any definition. They are criminals, period. She's dumb as a box of rocks, right? So, to your theory that she's playing a part, Cameron, I disagree. I think she actually is dumb as a box of rocks. She's very good at reciting a script that's given to her. She's very good at going in front of a camera and reading a teleprompter and even reciting a very specific script, but pay attention when she's speaking and she's off prompter. She'll have a bundle of facts in her head that somebody gave her, and she'll get them jumbled and make terrible mistakes and say things that are not the facts she was expected to say. And then she'll say stuff like, well, I'm not an expert on foreign policy, or I'm not an expert on economics. I'm like, aren't those the two things you have your degree in, on which you built your political career platform?
Yeah, going back to that interview she did with Margaret Hoover when she first came onto the scene, she's talking about Palestine. Hoover just asked her a single question and torpedoes her. I know exactly what you mean. I don't know. The jury's still out on that for me. She could be dumb and an agent. Like, those two things are not necessarily.
I think it's perfectly obvious that that's the case. I mean, so it's not some bizarre right-wing conspiracy theory that AOC was literally cast to play the role of a congressperson, right? That's not a conspiracy theory. It's incontrovertible. We know that to be the case. They did a casting call and they selected her based on her ethnicity, on her appearance, her gender, and her ability to recite lines, right? She was cast to run against the other Democrat in a Democrat safe area. The Justice Democrats that did that, their objective is to replace Democrats that are not adequately left-wing. So that's how she ended up there.
Yeah. I still love the way she got challenged to this debate, though. What Greene did was brilliant, because not only was she perfectly reasonable and polite and all that, I smell a little bit of, well, bless your heart in that challenge, if you know what I mean. That's one of those fantastic phrases where, if you live down south, a southern woman saying bless your heart can mean, well, so many things, including, take a long walk off a short pier. But at the very least, what this is going to do is it's going to be a thing that other people, if they're smart and understand being politically savvy, they'll use against her. It's like, oh, okay, well, you're not at all confident in your policy. You're not even willing to debate Marjorie Taylor Greene on the policy. If you were confident in it, you go in and you debate it, because this is something that, you know, we've observed. The great one, the Maharishi, observed many times. The left can't win these kinds of granular debates. They just can't. It's got to be based on the feels, because once you sit down and you actually go through the math, you go through the platform, and you talk about how awful it would be to eliminate greenhouse gases, for example. Oh, it sounds like a great idea, but you're going to lock entire regions of the world into permanent poverty. You're going to crash our economy. And I hate to break it to you, but wind and solar are nowhere near as reliable as you think that they are. And, oh, yeah, by the way, the best solution to that problem is to incorporate more nuclear power into our power grid. You know, once you start pointing out all these facts, they're lost. They can't keep up. So, you know, this is one of the things that Greene is exposing. And that's why I say, if her colleagues are smart, they'll capitalize on the fact that Greene did this. They probably won't, because they're worried about optics and everything else. But you'd think they'd get the hint.
Yeah. So, dude, you're in her district. You know what? We need to get her on our show. It's that simple. We need to get Marjorie Taylor Greene on our show.
Oh my God, that would be just the best.
We'll take if we can set it up with her office, we'll take the live kit anywhere in Georgia she wants us to meet her. I'm sorry, Sunshine, I'm not coming to DC for you. I don't voluntarily disarm, but anywhere in Georgia, I'm in. Let's do this. I'll send a letter to her office after we get off the show, which we should do shortly because we are coming up on our time. Is there anything you want to say in closing there, Cameron?
No, I'm good. A lot of people make fun of Greene, but man, I can tell you she absolutely represents her district.
Yep. All right. Thanks for watching this morning, guys. We will see you tomorrow for Firearms Friday. Be there and take care. Out.